just said it, but how about you introduce yourself, say who you are, and what it is that you do?
Absolutely. My name is Mark Hoge. I play for the South Shore Monarchs, a new team to the TBL. I'm actually one of the captains of the team, where I handle some involvement with the coaches for assistance as well.
When did South Shore join in this whole massive expansion that happened over the last couple of months? Where did they fall during that timeline?
We were the 17th team to be added to the TBL.
Okay,
So
17th.
it was, I want to say, end of July-ish, if I call correctly, is when it was officially announced. But yeah, we were the 17th team, so I think it was the 5th team to be added, because I think there was 12 before they started adding the new teams, if I recall correctly. So yeah, we were the 5th team, so we were one of the early teams to be added of the 25 teams, 23 teams that were added this year. I think we were the 5th team to be added.
And at what point? Now you said they joined in July. When did you know? When did other people know that there was going to be a TBL team for South Shore?
For South Shore, actually, it was about the time of the announcement.
Oh, okay.
Because we were working on making sure everything was finalized. We didn't want to, get people excited or hyped up for something that may not happen, just for safety precautions, because, COVID had everything very difficult with the process. So we waited till we actually had the announcement. So when we made the announcement ourselves, that's when everyone knew that our team was official. So we kept it under wraps until we knew for sure that it was a done deal that we would be a part of the league.
Were people eyeing the league as like management, as far as South Shore Monarchs management looking at the league last year, or when did the spark start for management?
I would say it actually happened more so at the beginning of last year, a little bit before COVID hit. I knew it was something that was kind of in the talks and thought process. And then as Damon Harper, the owner, had met with David Megley and actually started having conversations with them, is when it really started gaining headway and becoming more serious for the Boston area itself.
Yeah, so I guess that's something we should have said. We didn't talk about that. South Shore is what region again?
Boston, Massachusetts, actually. So South Shore is the Boston itself is kind of like almost like a little bit of an island, where there's like a little canal that goes around the city. So then the part below that is actually called South Shore, and then everything north of Boston is actually called North Shore. So our team is based out of South Shore, so we're just, like I said, just a couple minutes south of Boston. So we're like the kind of like we are Boston, but we're like the suburb of it. So we're the New England area.
Okay, so what then? When I'm thinking of the professional teams in Boston, where are they compared to you? Are they nearby? Are they?
Yes, yeah, they're actually not that far. The Boston Celtics Stadium is literally like a 10-minute drive, 15-minute drive. So it is like a real bit a nice city scenario, where even though we're not technically in Boston city limits itself, the South Shore and North Shore is kind of like considered like the suburbs area of Boston.
Sure.
So we're really just minutes away from the other stadiums.
How does a new team, or a team in general, share a big city, not only a big city, but a city that has a professional basketball team already there? We have a couple of them. Cities we've talked to already have the same situation. Obviously, you're not the NBA. You're not trying to be. But how does that sharing of the city work, and how does that how do you figure that out?
Yeah, to be honest, it business-wise, it's actually beneficial, because you're already in a city where people expect success and expect a team to be playing every single year. So we're in an area where people are used to seeing a sports team play, a professional sports team play, all year round. They got baseball, football, basketball, right? Hockey. So they're nonstop going. And out in Boston as well, they even got they added a new addition to the Women's National League team. They have a professional women's team now for hockey too. So that area is very sports heavy, and they're used to always having a sports team to watch. So for us at the South Shore Monarchs, it actually is very beneficial. We are actually fitting right into that, all the rest of the teams in the area. And I know Damon has been talking with the organizations to try, help them be involved with each other to help us be able to expand and grow and get our name out more. So being that it is an area that already expects sports to be constantly played, now that we have a new team coming in, the people in that area are actually excited. They're looking forward to seeing what the new professional team is going to look like when we start, especially coming from Boston, where They're used to all their programs winning titles all the time. You
I
know,
was gonna say that.
they're very successful in
Yeah.
winning. You know, the Celtics, New England Patriots,
Very good. They all
you know,
are.
Boston Red Sox, the Bruins. You can really go down. Their women's national team, they've won 2 out of the last 4 years. The league, the whole thing themselves. So even though the National League is really new for women's hockey, they're winning it right out the gate. So Boston's used to successful sports. So for them, for us, it actually made it pretty, I guess I shouldn't say pretty easy, but it made it simpler for us because we were in an area that wants a new team. They want to see sports. They want to see new professional teams come in and they want to see them grow. So we're in an area where it's actually accepted and wanted, like in an exciting way. So that was actually beneficial for us to be in that area of successful sports with all the other Boston teams because it's already an atmosphere where people want to go watch and want to go see what's out there.
One of the things, not being from Boston, I hear about Boston is that the fans are very, very hard on you if you lose because they do expect winning. So is there a lot of pressure then, too, like you said, since Boston wins a lot, they really do, to succeed? And if you don't succeed, you might have a problem in the area as far as losing respect, losing fans, losing a following, or anything like that. Is there more of a pressure being out in that region than maybe others?
I mean, I guess it depends how you look at it. Some people could see it that way because they see that as having to be successful as extra pressure. I can say with our organization, with the guys that we got running the program and the way that we put this together, our mindset at South Shore is no different than any of the other teams. We don't feel extra pressure having to win because we feel like we have a mindset set in place from the people that work in the organization to the captains and the people that we have coming up to the team, that we're as a whole a group of people that just naturally know how to win. So for us, we don't feel like it's extra pressure. We feel like we're actually going to complement the area and the successful of winning actually quite well.
Who is in your division?
It is, I'm trying to think, we have like 3 New York teams. I think is it the Syracuse Stallions?
Oh, yeah. If it's all the New York ones, then is it Albany, Syracuse,
Albany is another one.
Jamestown,
Tri-State. I was going to say Tri-State's the other one. Yep, okay. I was trying to think of that one. Tri-State's the other one, which I think is in New Jersey.
Yeah, and I never got the final answer. If they're in New York, I think they're basically in New York region proper, New York City.
Okay.
Something like that. The region, at least. That's a really, I don't know, do you know anything about the division? Are you familiar with any of those teams?
I don't myself, to be honest. I don't know much details about the other teams in the division.
They're fantastic. Mm-hmm. So out of all the divisions, there's some of them have a lot of new teams. 2 of those teams are very good. They were in here already, Albany and Jamestown. And Syracuse was doing great things before they came in. Tri-State's good too. So you're jumping into a really hard division in a market that expects success. As far as talent pool in the Boston region, have you been able to find a lot of your guys from that area?
We do have a couple from the area. But to be honest, like for me myself, I'm from Minnesota. Wow. Another one of our captains is from Chicago. So we actually are really spread out throughout the country as a whole. We're not heavily from Boston. We do have a couple players from the area. But to be honest, we actually are pretty spread out. I know we got another player that's from Minnesota as well that's on the team. So we really are pretty spread out. I know we got someone from down, I believe, in the Florida area that's going to be on the team too. So we did have a lot of people come to the combines that were from Boston. Obviously, that came to the tryouts and stuff. So the ones that did fit, that we thought would fit our scheme, are absolutely with us on the team and going to the training camp. But to be honest, we're not Boston heavy. We're kind of spread out in general, to be honest.
One thing that has to happen then when you bring in people from across the country is some sort of housing setup. How have South Shore adjusted for that and made sure that's prepared for people like you coming from Minnesota?
They've actually done a good job. They've actually been working. We've been working with that for the past few months now. As a whole, actually, basically since we had announced that we were part of the team, they've been working on finalizing all that. And actually, one of our players is a real estate agent guy. That was his actual job. So him, along with Damon, the owner, and management, they've been working on finding the right housing that's been the right pricing that's going to fit for the team that works with the budget. So they actually, I think they believe they finalized it last week, I think it was, or the week before. They got everything finalized. So but my understanding is we actually have it all squared away and set to go for our team at this point.
From a player perspective, how do you see the community outreach, not only of the league, but specifically what will be the community outreach of the South Shore Monarchs?
I think it's huge. I think it's real big because at this point, I know for us, at least the South Shore Monarchs, what we've talked about a lot is giving back to the community. Because obviously we're not like the NBA where we're playing games, every other day. So it's a more open schedule. So I know for us, we plan to do things where we're giving back to the community, doing jobs to help players, and to help kids in situations like that. It doesn't just help the Monarchs with getting our name out there, but it also helps the community itself more so than it helps the Monarchs, because it shows what we want to do is we want to show the community that the community matters. That growing up, that you have people you can look up to that see you as important when you're a little kid, because not every little kid necessarily has the full support that they want, from family or from friends. Some kids feel like they are alone. So for us, if we can be involved with, running some like basketball camps and things like that, or we can really show the kids as coming from like the professional side of things, like, hey, you still matter. Even if you feel like you're alone, like you're still important. You can progress in life. You can be successful in life. You just got to work hard and keep your mind to it. So being that we're in the Boston area, the work hard and being successful obviously seems to be a common mindset for the majority of people, and it relates because of all the success the sports have had of constantly winning, year after year after year. There's a successful atmosphere that's set up in the Boston area. So with that, we want to kind of take that and we want to run with it to help ourselves teach, not just kids, but even the community as a whole, like you can be successful in life if you really put your mind to it.
And then how will people know, or how can you speak to the fact that the South Shore Monarchs are here long term for the people of Boston, the greater Boston region?
I guess I would say this isn't a one and done scenario. When at least on our side, when Damon and the crew, we were putting this together, it was everything we thought about was long term. We thought about when we put this team together, we're not looking at trying to get players to be able to play in a professional level for like a year, maybe two, and be done. But what we saw was we want it to be a program where 5-10 years down the road, the South Shore Monarchs is the team that people are thinking about and referring to because of the Boston area as well. They're used to us being a successful program. That's what we're working on putting in place year one for the team, because we also know that year one is that unforgettable year. No one's ever going to forget the first year that something is handled or something is worked or something is done. So with that being the case, like we really are working on our goal and our focus to make that stamp, that permanent stamp year one out the gate. So that way the area knows going forward every single year you're expecting success.
What's something about South Shore Monarchs people need to know that we haven't talked about? Or did we talk about everything?
We are a big family, to be honest. I would say that's probably the only other thing is, we see each other as family. We don't see each other as co-workers, because with this it is an actual, it's a job, it's a business. Being that we're doing this professionally, we're not in high school, we're not in college. This actually is a real business. But for our business, it's business first with a family mentality and mindset, that we're doing it as a family progressing forward to always be successful.
Well, that brings up a follow-up question, though. If you're going to bring people in from all over the country, so far sounds like more so than what we've talked to. That could be inaccurate. Who knows? But it seems like it. How much more difficult is it to maintain that family aspect when they are coming from all over the place?
It's really big, because as players, you're leaving the area you grew up in. A lot of players will go back to where they grew up when they're done with their college and high school career. I know I'm one of those players. So a lot of people go back to the area, or they're living, somewhere where it's just them and maybe their significant other and their small family they've started. So for them to move cross country and to start a new life and with new people, it's one of our main goals that we want to get everyone feeling comfortable right away that, hey, now that you're here, you are our family. We actually try to put that feeling and atmosphere out before they actually ever arrive to the Boston for the South Shore Monarchs. So we actually, like with players, I've got players that I am talking with and communicating with to try and grow a relationship with them now. So that way, by the time we get out to Boston, it's not fresh. We're not coming out and trying to get the feeling of, okay, who can I talk to? Who can I can't talk to? Can I feel people out? Like, we're trying to eliminate all of that feeling before we ever get to Boston. So we're working on that family aspect and actually interacting with people and each other right now and the weeks leading up to it, so that when we get out there, it's almost like the feeling of like, hey, I've been away from family for so long, now I'm back home type of feeling. So that's what we're trying to set up, is that type of atmosphere.
It's fantastic. Where can people find the South Shore Monarchs for social media?
So we are actually on Facebook and Instagram, and we are labeled South Shore Monarchs is the actual name. So you're able to find it by looking there. I'm not 100% sure if we have a Twitter account,
But
to be honest.
the big one.
Instagram is the big one. We definitely are really big and heavy on Instagram. And then I would say Facebook's the second one for social media of how heavy we're exposing stuff. But we are posting things daily on Instagram. So we are definitely very heavy there.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.